My name is Henry Chu. I am now, coming up February the 19th, I am going to be 36 years old. I am currently a slave to the restaurant basically because it's a family business, but I'm manager basically of the North Garden restaurant. I've been working here since 2009, so it's been almost 13, 14 years now. We're based in Liverpool, Chinatown, right in the centre of it. We've been here for about 30 years now, and it's opened up in 1990, so I was 3 years old when my parents first started the restaurant. But it first started with my father, I think it is. And the story is it's a bit sad, but it's a very important story because I feel as though it's very important to know your roots. But my father was actually, his family had some land in China back before the Cultural Revolution in 1945. And then when the Cultural Revolution hit, the land got given back to the government and it overturned, and my family got put into very deep poverty in China. Learned his trade basically, grafted really hard for so many years, and finally got the opportunity to come from Hong Kong to UK, where he basically just went all around the whole UK, from London all the way to Swindon, Leicester, Sheffield, Leeds, and then finally ended up in Liverpool, where he obviously had a good group of friends around him, and then became the head chef of New Capital, which is right across from us, which is the Blue Funnel. Was the Blue Funnel, now it's obviously Restaurant New Capital. He finally, at the tender age of 40, I think it was, decided he wanted to have a family. So got introduced to my mum back in China, they dated for a while and then started a family. He had the opportunity to rent out next door, which is 28, the North Garden restaurant, which has some symbolic meaning because it's actually the first restaurant my father as a child went to. And back then it was poverty, so it was very difficult. And the owners always used to give him free buns, and he was always very thankful because it was a very warm environment. And he actually named the North Garden restaurant because of that, which is really nice. Yeah, so back then, I was maybe 1 or 2 years old. Parents had to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, or more, from 3 or 4 in the morning, 3 or 4 p.m. until 3 or 4 in the morning. So it was very hard on them to try and take care of us at the same time. I had to find some sort of balance, and luckily, they walked along the street one day, and a couple, who is now was my godparents, my Uncle Harold and Auntie Joan, just had a struck up conversation and became really good friends, and then decided that they'd take care of us for a whole 2 years of our lives when we were kids, So it was a really great integration into almost English society for me, because back then it was very difficult to have just work in the restaurant. And then my parents had to work 7 days a week, just constantly working basically throughout the whole time. And then from there, we managed to build a brand, build a business, and then, yeah, kind of grew from there. So in the 1990s, basically we were next door. It was very kind of like a dark and dingy atmosphere, I suppose, because you had these very dark cladded walls basically, but the atmosphere was just kind of very busy because back in the 1990s there wasn't very many Chinese restaurants, Well, there was, but they were all scattered, and there wasn't like a place where people could congregate. But the best part about this was that it was really kind of low key. You had upstairs basically, so downstairs was the restaurant, upstairs was the Hoyin's. Oh, there's some food. Over here. Thank you. Thanks, Marie. That's my Auntie Marie, basically. So everyone here is family, which is great. I've got my uncles and aunties all over the place, basically, in the kitchen, and different generations of me coming, basically, over the years. So, yeah. But it's a wonderful situation because we've just built so many regulars over the years, from starting in 1990. The whole kind of atmosphere was kind of, obviously back then the alcohol license lasted until about 11 p.m. So after 11 p.m. people would just rush over to the restaurant basically, and just enjoy some Chinese food until 2, 3 in the morning, I just built that kind of really strong bond with the local community, and lots of their kids and generations have come through the restaurant basically and build friendships over the years. So yeah, really, really important part of my life basically as well, because you grow up with that as well, it's so nice to see almost 3 or 4 generations of families, you know. And it's strange how you see, when you're a kid, you're kind of like outgoing and you're going out partying and you're out with your friends and you're causing a little bit of trouble here and there. But then you see these kids kind of grow up to be adults and then parents, and then yeah, it's really wonderful because you know you build that sense of community around the area. It's one of them things where it's almost kind of lost now. Back then, with my godparents, they'd always leave the door open, you know, and that wasn't really a problem. Nowadays, they're a bit more wary, I suppose. But it's great because you know you build that sense of community, and you build those friendships over the years that are just bonds, you know. And it's really nice. It's really fulfilling because you come to work and it's not just about the grind, you know, because in a lot of restaurants in London, for example, it's just about tourism, you know. It's that constant door spinning around where people are just coming in and out, in and out, in and out, and there's no sense of character or understanding of, you know, that learning of empathy, where you kind of create an environment where you can understand people and you can have those little conversations, you know.